This week on True Bloods, Deebs and I bask in the glory of a beautiful W over the Canberra Giants.
The Bloods are back in Melbourne. You must get down to Marvel, faithful. Let's go. Big episode. Up the Bloods.
Jeez, this is the most one-eyed podcast.
It's what we're here to do.
It is.
There is only one side in this competition. It's game-changing.
It's absolutely game-changing, Deeble.
Riddle me that,
Yeah,
Mads.
riddle me that, Deeble.
Do you remember? It's what we're here to do.
This is True Bloods, the number one independent Sydney Swans fan podcast. And we are back in the AFL Today Studio to talk about the Swannies win on the weekend, the upcoming clash against the Dons and everything else. Sydney Swans joined as always to my left, the big fella, Big Clarko. How are you, mate?
Yes, I'm well. Back on the winners list.
How good?
Doesn't get much better than that champion.
Doesn't get any better than that champion. Knocking over the little brothers from out west, the Giants, starting like a house on fire, and just getting ourselves back on the right track, Mads.
It's getting there, Deebs. It's you can tell things are moving in the right direction. We're trending the right way up the chart. Not down, up, Deebs.
That's right.
Up forward.
Up forward.
I just think there's key things about that game which we'll dive into that make me feel. I thought it was a hard watch for a lot of it, to be honest, and I'll address that as well. The way I'm watching football, the way I watch that game is probably not the best way to do it, I don't think. But we're trending in the right direction.
Yeah, look, you've been mentioning the words incremental uplift in the past couple of weeks. That's been a little bit of a theme on the pod, and I think we are seeing that in its droves. We're really seeing the improvements in the areas and our ball movement, and when we get going, geez, we're looking good, especially the sort of, that first half against the Gold Coast. We look very impressive, right? It did fall apart in that third quarter. But this week, when it did sort of start to unravel a little bit towards the back end of that first quarter and at the start of the second, and we were all sitting there thinking, gee whiz, is this all happening again? Is it deja vu, Mads?
And that's what sort of annoyed me a little bit, because I've been harping on about sort of looking at the bigger picture this season and not riding it week by week. But there was almost PTSD from the week before going, because I think I called you, I'm like,
yeah,
it just had all the telltale signs of, holy hell, have we just put in this phenomenal effort to get, 4 or 5 goals up, and then you just get lackadaisical, take the foot off the pedal, and away we go. There, all of a sudden, you're back to, 2 and a bit goals.
Yeah, look, there's definitely that sort of aspect to it. What was it, 1 goal to 3 in that second quarter? But I feel like we addressed a few of the issues that were going on through that game. And look, you're never going to be able to dominate, sides for, 4 quarters of footy. That's rarely going to happen. But I did think we were able to stem the momentum at times a lot better, and we were a lot more reactive at times. I think we saw Francis go back at stages in that game.
Was phenomenal. This is what we talk about, incremental uplift, faithful. That was a big part of it.
Yeah.
So we're seeing them get a run on. There's an issue here. Let's throw a spare behind the ball.
Yeah, I thought we saw that on the weekend. And the biggest thing I took out of the weekend was the intent of individuals and the jobs that individuals got on, for instance, you had, what's his name, Aaron Francis going to Taylor. That was sort of his role, and then Hamling went to Buckley. And you don't often see sort of 2 defensive roles on some key pillars in a defence, but I think GWS are just so reliant on those 2 guys, and they weight bear so much of the load in that back line, and their game drives off halfback too. And where, Jordan goes to Whitfield as well, and there was definitely a defensive mindset from us, but I don't think that took away from our offensive drive as well.
I'll tell you what my favourite matchup was, Deebs.
Go on.
Dane Rampy and Toby Green.
That's right.
That was, for mine, Deebs.
For yours.
There's one guy who's broken Swan supporters' hearts since inception of the GWS Giants.
That's right.
And that is Toby Green.
Yeah.
Uncle Toby Green, if you will.
Yes.
And
or son of Dane.
Yeah. Wily old Dane Rampy. absolutely blanketed him.
Yeah.
It was good to see. He was a complete non-factor.
Yeah, well, look, I don't think Toby Green's best footy is in the midfield anymore, and that's what they had to do with him to sort of try and get him into the game. And he got a few cheap touches around the ball, but that was forced from Dane Rampy, just turning the clock back. The 35-year-old veteran Mads playing a role which was so essential to us winning that game.
Yeah, for sure.
It was phenomenal.
For sure. You were very prophetic, Deebs.
Yes.
In your little clip on Instagram talking about inviting Chad to the party.
Yes.
Because I reckon this guy is just really hitting his straps in a period of time where we need him to. And the best part of it for me
For you.
For me, Deebs, was going inside 50.
Yes.
And especially a guy like Aaron Francis, and this is why I really like him as a forward, Deebs. The way he leads up at the ball carrier, it makes it look so much more slick. He's always mobile. Yep. He's always coming towards the ball carrier. Him and Doss did that for Chad Warner. And Chad has matured enough as a player as well to not blaze away and try. He's got the license to go and kick those goals, right? When he's running inside 50. Doesn't blaze away, hits him on the chest. We convert from a set shot.
Well, one thing, Aaron Francis isn't a lot of things, right? But one thing he definitely is a natural footballer. He sees the game unfold really well, and you can tell that and see that in his leading patterns. He leads up at the ball well, and you know that was as you well and truly say, it's like that was the most impressive part, was him taking the time, executing inside 50. And he made every touch count on the weekend. For sure. He was so effective with what he did. Bulk meters gained, over 600, effective with every disposal. And when the Chad is on the burst, I don't think there's a better side in footy, Mads.
Well, and it just
on the tear, like it's so attractive.
Yeah, it is. It's really attractive football. But it's just that the term selfless comes to mind with the way he's playing his footy at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest change I see, because you know how last year I'd sort of be like, sometimes he does a bit much. And I think a lot of people had that point of view as well. But he's a lot more selfless at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I could just see, I do think I'm seeing the game quite well from how a few of our players are building into this season. And I could see that happening last week with the Chad really starting to hit his straps. And I bring up the name of Justin McInerney, right? It's back-to-back weeks he's had nearly 25 plus posies, and he's had a change of role, Mads. He's gone on to the ball. He's been introduced into CBAs, and I think we've sort of had a bit of a discussion about Juzzy. How did you see his game as a whole after our chat, pre our chat, and have my thoughts of maybe, hyper focusing on every disposal? Has that opened up your mind to how you're seeing Juzzy's game at the moment?
I just don't know how else what else I can hyper focus on if it's not every disposal.
Yeah.
Because there were 2 times where his slow as a snail ball drop cost us, right? And I just those are really simple. Yeah. We talk about skill execution, right? He got caught holding the ball twice because he drops the ball from up there, and it takes 4.5 seconds to get down to his boot. Now, Deebs, right. I'm not an absolute weapon field kick, but that's when you say if I'm not hyper focusing on disposals, it's like, well, he didn't dispose of the ball either one of those times.
In all honesty, they're not even the 2 I was talking about. So that's what makes it even funnier.
But I know he's got it in him, right? Yeah. And we have our opinions on this. I can see how. It all comes back to execution.
Yeah.
And we've talked about there being this incremental uplift in execution. I probably, maybe you can see it a little bit ahead further than I can. But I mean, the first inside 50, he kicked it on the inside part of his boot.
Yeah, and
I'm saying these are things that you can resolve, right?
Exactly,
that's
right.
where my frustration is born out of.
Yeah.
Is because I know he's so elite by foot, and I just don't know what's going on at the moment.
Yeah, I just think it's still that bit of ring rust, missing like 4 to 5 weeks of footy in the middle of a season, right? And then you get to that match intensity and you put under pressure. See, I'm not as frustrated at those 2 holding the balls. While yes, that they're annoying, they were dynamite on that on us all day, especially that one with Heaney. I don't know what was quite going on there, right? It was stiff. Don't have to be there to be stiff,
I
Mads.
think it's just because he didn't make any attempt. Like
Yeah,
he took the contact, and then you just saw he was just sort of snuggling the ball on the ground.
Look, your reasoning's there, and I absolutely agree. I'm just trying to build the narrative here. But the thing with Juzzy, even those first two inside 50s, he was bellying the ball, right? And then that little passage where he was rushed going inside 50, bellied it again, right? This is something that will come with match play and touch during the week. Like, I've got no doubt that Juzzy goes in, does another touch session and gets it going because he knows how good a kicker he is, and he wouldn't be happy with how he's kicking the ball. But at the same time, he's had 24 touches and gone at 80%, right?
Yeah.
And you've got to look at the positives. You've got to be half full on Juzzy because he's getting the ball in his hands. He's had a changed role. He's playing pure mid-time, and it's so close to being executed. And it's like, it's similar to how you sort of saw Chad a few years ago, and everyone used to get so frustrated with how he used to get holding the ball all the times. But we're seeing the fruit of that labour of him gaining confidence and knowing when to go and making the right decisions. This is what you get with the more time spent at the block.
Mm-hmm.
And look, Juzzy's normally that outside player,
Tools in
right?
his kit bag, you reckon,
That's
Deebs?
right. Juzzy's normally that outside player, the handball receive guy. He's not necessarily the bull going inside and earning his own pill.
Yeah.
So I just think it's really, really close to clicking for Juzzy to becoming an A+ star.
And we needed to, right? Because
someone's got to lift.
The cattle's still on the bench as presently constituted. So we're going to need him to we know what he can do. We know what he's capable of.
Yeah.
And that's I think the frustrating thing for me and why I found it a little bit hard to watch is because you saw some of our best footy, but the gap between our best and worst is significant.
For sure.
It's a significant chasm, Deebs. And that's what frustrates me because I think we hold our players to such a high standard and we hold our team to such a high standard. It's just frustrating to watch it not be at that standard. But then, of course, you remember that there's a significant amount of injuries. We've got a new coach with a new game plan. I thought Coxie on the weekend was phenomenal. Yeah. With those sort of things, those moves, Rampy to Toby, Hamling and Francis playing more defensive roles, and Jordan to Whitfield, phenomenal coaching and being able to sort of change that. But I digress. I think we're getting there. We're certainly getting there.
For sure.
Have to be.
We have to be. There has to be multiple wins out there for us.
Has to be.
The way this is trending, Mads. And look, I was so impressed. It's funny how off defense can be created.
Well, it's our bread and butter,
That's right. But I just don't think we've seen it in the likes of Hamling and Francis playing those two roles. Like Hamling all day into Jack Buckley all day, relentless, right? And when you don't have your A+ cattle out there, these are the things that you can build your game off and can get it going. And it puts that little bit of mongrel factor in there. And that's what we've probably been lacking in this first 8 weeks, right?
Deeps, I came away from that Gold Coast game thinking one thing: where is the mongrel? Where's the mongrel? Because we've got a lot of the same players. I'm not saying that. I love them. Love them all. Love Matt Roberts. Love Jack Lloyd. Love Ollie Florent. They play a similar brand of football. It can sometimes be, it's not necessarily super contactful. But to see Hamling and Francis doing what they were doing, I said, we're getting it from places that we didn't know we had it.
That's right.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, mate. And just that absolute mongrel factor last week, wussy boys. Right?
Yeah, correct.
Second half, wussy boys. All 4 quarters, relentless mongrel Bloods footy.
Yep.
And they were in and tough. They weren't copping any crap from the Giants. And it made me so proud to be a Blood supporter.
100%.
Right?
I 100% agree with you.
We knew we needed that, right? When you're lacking personnel sometimes, you've got to find an edge from somewhere. And we had that edge on the weekend.
McLean kicks a goal, getting in people's faces. Hamling kicks his first goal of his career straight to Buckley and what's his name? Who's the other one?
Sam Taylor.
Yeah, Sam Taylor.
Yeah.
Phenomenal stuff.
But geez, I tell you what, Hamling was lucky that he missed with that open palm.
Yeah.
Because Buckley came over the top and gave him a nice little forearm there.
Could have been turned.
And then he's just
over.
gone the bang, like open fist. If that connected, would have been really interesting. But thank God he missed.
It was great. And that's something I like them as a pair together.
Yeah.
If they're going to go back this week, I'd like them to do it together.
Although I don't know if you heard the story. I think it might have been Zano was telling us, but of Aaron Francis pre-season. Like, Aaron Francis is a guy, hasn't been – how many games do you reckon he's played with the Swannies? Maybe 10, 15 maybe? Max, right? But pre-season, he's in Coxie's office. He's the one saying, how can I get into this side? What have I got to do? I want to play in this side, right? And for someone of Aaron Francis's caliber and status in the game, for him to have the desire to want to perform, I think your hat has to be taken off to Aaron Francis and what he's done in these last few weeks.
Hey, I've always been a big Aaron Francis guy. He's your player's player, right? If he's in Coxie's office going, how do I break into that side? How many other bloody people are doing that?
That's right.
How many people are just sitting there in their spot going, I'm pretty comfortable here?
Yeah.
You need that. We've always said you need people busting down the door to get in the side, that you create healthy competition. Every single football club needs it.
They do.
And he's a natural forward, as you say, but he's versatile.
He is.
So,
Strings to the bow, man.
I'll tell you what, he's got enough in his kit bag. He's not going anywhere this week.
That's right. That's right. He's doing his job now. Madison Clark, I've got a name for you.
Is it Caden Cleary?
No.
Okay.
Similar sort of stuff.
Sam Wicks?
There it is.
My man, Sammy Wicks.
How good is he going, mate?
But he's just had it's a breakout season, Deebs.
When the game was on the line at the start of that last quarter, Sammy Wicks got us going, man.
Yep.
Like the pressure that he was applying on the wing, balls inside 50. I think he had 18 odd touches and the pressure rating was through the roof, Mads. What Wixie is doing for this footy side is these are the parts that get missed in the mainstream. Sammy Wicks has basically chucked us on his shoulders at stages this year. You can never question his endeavour.
Never.
Right?
We never have.
Never have, right? But the ways he has been able to execute, by one, with his pace, and two, with his decision-making, he's so good at knowing when to go and create and when to just give the option.
That was probably a fair whack for him a couple of years ago. He sometimes just makes the wrong decision.
Yeah.
He's completely matured in that regard.
Sure.
And do you know what, Deebs? It's just hard work. It's pure hard work, and it's taking on the role that he's been assigned. And every media pundit can talk, the experiment of Tom McCartan's over. No one has mentioned the experiment of Sam Wicks to defence, who's been playing the small forward role his whole career.
That's right.
It's it worked an absolute treat. We would be screwed without Sam Wicks.
Yeah, he's huge. And you even see how it sort of falls apart against the Gold Coast the week before. No Sammy Wicks. You know, he was the one who was getting us up and going when the game was on the line. And another guy who did that was Jimmy Jordan in the last quarter, right?
Absolutely.
Smart footy, getting forward of the ball.
Making Whitfield accountable.
Whitfield got chucked around the pill a little bit more too. And what happens? He works the other way, hits the scoreboard twice, wins us the game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? These are the guys who are just need to keep executing like they are and performing, and then we can keep trying to even this ledger between wins and losses, because that's what it's all about. It's a little bit...
Well, it's a wins and losses league,
yeah, it is. Like, it was a little bit ugly at times on the weekend, right? But my fundamental thing from the weekend was the 4 points. Like, the method is important, and it becomes more important as it gets later in the year.
Well, it's about seeing endeavour for the method, right?
Yeah.
You're wanting to see the bones of a game plan, of what you're wanting to do with ball in hand and what you're wanting to do when the opposition have got the footy. You're not always going to get it right because of the lack of cattle and because, you're just learning how to do the game plan. But you're absolutely right. These are the times that you bank 4 points where you can.
Yeah.
You have to, because you're going to need them later.
Yeah.
You're going to need them when Errol's back. You're going to need them when Millsy's back.
That's right.
You're going to need them when Harry Cunningham's back. You're going to need them when Papley's back.
That's right. Yeah.
Hey, can I give you a name?
You can.
Captain Rowie.
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 Yeah. look, phenomenal. I love the way he holds himself.
It's
both on field and off field, and even the way he spoke post game, phenomenal. It's big kudos to Rowie stepping up into this role while Millsy's out. He's putting his hand up and making his case really strong for a big decision probably post-season that'll come, subject to, how this
availability
middle to back end plays out with Millsy. Because, look, it's nearly a one-man race if, it didn't happen in the back end for Millsy.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think that you've got your guy right there.
Yeah.
I think something that we need to get out of our game, I'm not going to say as a team because not everybody does it, but if you think you've been infringed upon, just keep playing until the whistle's blown. It doesn't really matter, but you never see Rowie doing that.
Yeah.
And this is the sort of leadership and captaincy where you just lead by example through your actions on field. And that's something everyone can follow. But to bring a negative with a positive, that's something we've really got to get out of our game, Deebs.
Yeah.
Because that costs us big time.
Yeah, you saw it. You sort of brought it to my attention. There was a lot of it going on. We know sort of Haynes had a bad run-in, lipping off, gave away 50. I don't think that's Isaac Heaney. I think that's a once-off. But we are seeing it with some certain players in contests.
Because let me be clear. There's 27-9 free kick count or something like that.
Right.
There was some absolute howlers in there, but I reckon 70 to 75% of them were there.
Yeah.
And just based on the fact that we were getting to the ball second.
Yeah.
So I think we need to, as a supporter base, we need to be cognizant of that. But as a team, you need to just keep bloody playing.
Yeah.
Because that's how you win. That's how you end up winning the free kicks. Is if you don't worry about that, you don't have your arms in the air going, give me a free kick. You go, I'm actually at the ball first, and you're going to get rewarded.
Like there was that bad one in the middle, right? The rule is if the opposition ruckman comes over into your side and the ball bounces and they don't make contact with it, it's a free kick against. And that's why Brody was throwing out his arms saying, what's going on? But Brody, it's play to the whistle, bro. It's that costs us the centre clearance. Everyone's standing around, and the Giants just walk it inside 50, right?
Yeah.
It's they're coach killers. It's play to the whistle. It's the basic fundamentals of the game. You're taught.
This is Auskick stuff.
You are taught that in Auskick. It's play to the whistle, and that's like a couple of instances on the weekend are simply not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's we need to get our game when you're pushing, the boat down the stream as we are sometimes without the paddles. Matt.
It's either pushing shit uphill or.
Yeah, I was trying not to swear, and I got caught in between. But when you don't have the paddles, Mads, you got to be doing the fundamentals right.
No paddles, fundamentals.
Fundamentals, right? Paddles, fundamentals. So we want to keep those paddles in the boat.
You got your paddle? You don't need the fundamentals. You don't have your paddle. You need the fundamentals.
That's right. No, that's not some of my best gear, but we'll move on.
Hey, Caden Cleary.
Yes, pressure guy. Big pressure guy.
And this is, you want your spot in your side. You do the things that Caden Cleary and Sam Wicks are doing. Yep. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
Because, and especially that effort on the wing. That effort on the wing to win that 50-50 when we had no right in winning that 50-50 at all. They had guys outside. Who was it? Ash there. Caden Cleary just did not stop.
Yeah, and look, I think this is where, your strengths can come to the fore. It's clearly endurance with Caden Cleary.
Yep.
We saw him win that first 2-kilometre time trial, obviously got that base in him. And it's the work rate.
Mm-hmm.
Did not stop working the whole time. And that pressure roll and pressure acts, I think he was top 3 pressure acts in us, 20 plus of them on the weekend. And, not having a Tommy Hanley there on the weekend, although Clears, you got forward of the ball, kicked a goal.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's...
kicked our first goal.
That's right. And that's what Clears needs to do is just...
Clears.
Just with that forward pressure, work rate, and the pressure acts, just keep it up. He's doing a great job.
Phenomenal. Absolutely bloody phenomenal, Dave.
It's just been incredible, man.
It's just been incredible. Lewis Melican. Oh, boy.
Smash Toby Bedford's
Yeah.
nose across his face.
So was Bedford, now I wasn't clear about this.
Yeah.
Was Bedford tagging Haynes?
Yes.
Well, not anymore.
Yeah, no. It
Not
was,
for long.
Not for long. Yeah, look, I think.
I didn't notice it.
Where do you lean on this one? With Melican missing 3, I don't think we've contested it. It's just the way of the new age,
Yeah,
isn't
but
it?
it wasn't one of those ones where it's 3 or nothing, was it? Because they go straight to the tribunal, don't they?
Yeah, so on a slightly different thing.
That's what
think,
I mean.
but
It's
yeah,
not a 3 or nothing.
It was a 2 or 3.
My question
Yeah.
is, if you had contested it, could you have gotten it down to 2?
Yes.
So I think that's why they didn't bother,
Yeah.
right? Because they would have, I reckon if it was 3 or nothing, they would have gone, geez, wouldn't mind having him when we're against Langford and Caddy and 2 Metre Peter.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind having Gorilla Monsoon, Lewis Melican there.
Yeah.
But because they're probably only getting it down to 2, I think that's why they didn't worry.
Yeah, and it's just, it's one of those. It's a footy act. He was going the ball. He missed. It looks bad, but whenever someone subbed off, it wasn't concussion. It was the injury of blurred vision from blood in the eye.
I maintain the utter lunacy, Deebs,
Yeah,
of
the
judging
outcome.
something off the outcome rather than the action is
right.
just purely insanity. But
Just
I
got to
mean,
get rid of the table, don't we? The table has to go.
the Matrix.
The Matrix.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. It's but look, he's a big loss, and we're going to have to structure up slightly different. We've the good thing is we have been dealt this blow with his hamstring earlier in the season. We sort of know how the side does look without Melican, so it's not as if we haven't seen it, but it's definitely not ideal because I thought Melican showed some real composure at times, and I think he's been doing a really good job.
Well, the fact of the matter is, I get more and more comfortable with Hamling and Francis each week.
Yeah,
And they're guys who can play that role as well.
Yeah.
And they're not exactly short.
for sure.
I think that's okay. What'd you make of Ollie's game?
Yeah, look, not impacting games how we probably want him to. We sort of see Ollie as a bit of a game breaker, you know, the guy who can evade, bring the ball back inside, that type of thing. But we're probably not quite getting the output that, you know, we probably expect of Ollie.
That's right. I don't think he played badly per se.
Per se,
Deebs.
Mads, yes.
But I think, yeah, he can be an impact player.
That's
and that's what we want out of him. And we've got to have everyone pulling in the same direction to be able to sort of recover from a little bit of a hole that we've put ourselves in. But, I mean, the first step was against GWS, Deebs. And by God, we did it.
We did. Yeah, 3 and 5 looks a lot better than 2 and 6, mate. So we take that into this week. We're down in Melbourne. We're looking forward to that. And we might jump into some socials, I reckon, Mads.
Welcome back to True Bloods.
Yes.
Yes.
How good's having a win, Mads?
Oh, mate. Okay. Okay. I had no Sunday scaries. It was funny. It just completely evaporated for me. It was great. Like, dude, the way it impacts my mood is just unbelievable.
All right. Therapy session, right? I was very concerned with your mental state at halftime. You called me. You're in a panic. You weren't enjoying yourself, and I was worried about my big mate Clarko over here. So let's talk about it, mate.
Well, there's so much riding on every win now.
Yeah.
There's so much riding on every win.
You
and
definitely
you've
got
gotta-
less margin for error.
That's what I mean. Well, for mine, Deebs,
For yours,
there's no
Mads.
margin for error,
Yeah.
really. Like, there's no margin for error. So I think based on the way I saw it, the tide turning, like that's got to be, I don't know if any other team sort of lets teams in like we do at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, some of the 4 teams sitting under
This
us
comes back to, I think it's a me problem because I think I genuinely maybe rate us far higher than I should.
No, I think you've got every reason to rate us highly.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. And with a full list, full cattle out on the park, it's we expect to play top 4 footy, right? But I think you have to readjust the expectation
Absolutely.
to what we can perform in terms of output, right? But I take my solace in the excellent footy that we played in that first quarter, and you know that's good enough, right? You know the best is still there, even with all these guys out. But then you go back to who played well. Chad was playing well. Haynes was playing well. They've had 20 and 2 between them in the first quarter, right? And that's probably the reason it's going like it is. But what I also take out of the weekend is we've learnt from that Gold Coast game. But, yeah, it's very hard. Look at in that middle part, it's not overly enjoyable.
There's always going to be peaks and troughs, right?
That's right.
There's always going to be peaks and troughs. You know they're always going to come back at you. I think it's just not then degenerating to a poor style of football, which I think we did at times.
At times, but I think we're a lot fluid, more fluid in our decision making, and weren't hell bent on this is how we're going to play, this is who's playing who, and it doesn't take till 8-9 goals down to chuck the lizard forward and kick 3 goals, right? It's we kept ourselves in the game. The scoreboard pressure was on the Giants the whole time, and each game and situation's different.
Yeah,
you just can't be like last year with the slow starts. You're like, oh, it's all starting again, but then you rectify it some weeks, and I don't know. It's not going to be enjoyable if you just throw your hands up in the air every time and say, "Oh, it's happening again." It's you got to back in the system
for sure, absolutely. And I think we saw enough of that against GWS. GWS said they're no slouch. Yeah, they're a good side, and so to be able to do them with the available players that we have, phenomenal effort.
That's right,
and a great coaching performance by Coxie.
Yeah.
It just, I don't think he's gotten enough plaudits for that, because it really was fundamentally one in the coach's
Well,
box.
you got Dwayno's World on SEN.
Dwayne's World. Ali Habak often calls in there.
Yes,
so
Ali from
just,
Wollongong.
Yes.
The great Ali Habak. Ali Habak's Adventures. Subscribe on YouTube.
His adventure vlogs.
There's a subscribe out there for you. I see it now. I've caught off tangent. But no,
Dwayne's World.
Dwayno put us at number 1 for being the biggest on the pressure meter over the weekend, and then being able to step up to that. It's a really impressive hit out from the boys.
Bank wins. Bank them. Have to. There's another win out there for us this weekend.
There is, mate. There is.
Has to be.
We went on the socials this week. We love a little bit of social engagement,
love it.
Don't we, Mads?
We almost love it as much as we love
scoreboard impact from
midfielders.
Absolutely. But look at exciting news next week, Faithful. And this weekend, post-game, whatever happens, the voice notes are back. They're coming back, Mads. It's a big announcement. The voice notes will be back. We love engaging with you guys. It's what makes the show so special. You've been great on your social medias, right?
It's been missing, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, we're on your TikToks, your Instagrams, your Facebooks, your X, your TikToks. We're on all of them, Mads. And to bring back the voice notes, that's crucial to the pod going to another level this week.
Part of our DNA.
It is.
People have been talking about how sort of the Bloods have lost part of their DNA. Paul Roos was saying that.
Sure.
Right? So we have to sort of set the tone here, Deeps, and we need to get some of our DNA back flowing through our bloodstream.
That's right. Our bloodstream. Absolutely. I like that. Absolutely pun intended.
Yes, pun absolutely
intended.
Yes.
Voice notes back this week. We're looking forward to that. But on the socials, we've gone with #AskTheFaithful. Coxie had his best week from the coach's box. Clear plans on individuals that were executed nicely. This week, how do we set up, Mads? The Dons have some quality. Merritt is flying. 2 meter Peter is there. No Malikan. How does it look for yours, Faithful?
For mine, Deebs, that's a strong question. Lewis Malikan, it's a big out.
It's a big out. When you talk structure, he's one of the crucial pillars in there. Look,
critical.
It's great now that we have, Tommy's gone back the last 2 weeks, solid there. We know he's not going anywhere, so that gives you something to work on. You had Rampy executing on the weekend really nicely. He's back there, and you just hope that probably a Hamling, I would say, is going to float back there. He's going to be the switch guy.
So who have you got in their forward line? You've got your Caddy, your 2 meter Peter, your Langford, your Kako.
Yes.
Who else? Missing one?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, sure.
Not well researched on the bonds.
I think, there's a bit happening there, right?
There is.
Hamling has to go back for mine.
For yours?
So you got Hamling, you got Tom McCartan, you got the Lizard.
Yes.
And they're probably
Wixie.
on, Wixie probably goes to Kako.
Yep. That's right.
And then you can just pick and choose your own adventure with who goes to who. Actually, you probably think Rampy could be, stick with me on this, maybe even a bit more suited to Caddy. If Caddy stays sort of closer to the goal square.
Absolutely, can go with him, and then, Lizard's your third man chopping out.
Yeah.
Right? Definitely.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think Hamling's the obvious one to go back. In terms of selection, where do you go with that? With Gus having...
I liked Gus. There's somebody we didn't go over in the review. Good for him to get a snag. Yep. I thought that would have been great for his confidence.
Yep.
Do I see him getting a full game? Who else is there?
Well, I think Sid Mitchell played pretty well in the twos. We might hear from Catsy with the VFL report.
That'd be good.
And see how the boys went there.
Let's do that.
We'll jump into Catsy.
Mads, Deebs, faithful. Unfortunately, the Magoos copped a 26-point slap. Post the ones. Great win against little brother, the Giants, at the SCG on a Sunday afternoon. Bit of an interesting one across the park. We're seeing plenty of intent. Bit more of a gel and a game plan. Lot more improvement from our Caleb Sid Mitchell, best on ground, happy to say, with 25 touches and really executing well. Nick Shipley, unlisted, coming close behind, and then welcoming Lockie Hunter up to sunny Sydney. Will be interesting to see what happens mid-year when the rookie draft kicks off, or whatever the hell you want to call that fucking draft in the middle. Have to ask the Boffins that one. Pete Laddams was up and about, 2 goals, 3. Tommy Hanley got on the board, 3 sausage rolls, if you don't mind. Gussie Sheldrick, busy across the park. Had a bit of a run in the ones. Wasn't doing that double grabby shit that he inherited off Taylor Adams. Taking it first time and starting to see a little bit of improvement. I expect to see him up in the ones next week. Happy to say Will Edwards, he's been copping it down back for weeks and weeks and weeks. Looked very composed and calm, probably his best game back there. Jackie Buller just can't influence the game, unfortunately. Just one behind. And our Will Green and Ned Bowman, they may as well be on the moon because they're not with us. Lots of improvement needed there. Clock's ticking on those boys. Happy to say, though, plenty of improvement across the park, some green shoots. And to reiterate what Mads has been saying all week, we are playing the kids. The kids are playing. And in the Magoos, the kids are all that we have. And a couple of AFL listers that aren't really up to the task. So, still batting a little shallow, stick fat, up the potty, up the bloods.
I bloody love Catsy.
He's so good.
And do you know what? I'm not gonna call anyone out, Mickey Saunders. But a lot of people in my DMs about Ned Bowman and Will Green.
Yes.
And I'm not going to specify anyone Michael Saunders. But you heard it from Catsy. He's not ready. So let's just put that to bed for a moment.
That's right.
I love it. We love social engagement. But he's 60 kilos dripping wet and he's not doing much.
That's
so
right.
we just need to pump the brakes on the Ned Bowman experiment for a minute, I think.
Yeah. And look, I've sort of seen enough of Ned Bowman in terms of he's had 2 okay VFL games and you can see it that it's coming, right? You can see he's a player.
Hold on now, Faithful. I think we need to sort of keep an eye on this because when Deebs says something's building or a player's sort of about to hit their straps, generally they do. So now we've got to watch on Ned Bowman. Forget everything I just said. Ned Bowman is in the auspice of coming into the side.
No. That's I wasn't even allowed to finish my sentence, Madison Clark. That's not where I was going at all. I'd said in the distant future. I don't think you'll see it in 2025. That's for sure.
for sure.
And then with Will Green as well, it's
For
sort
sure.
of. I think Will is struggling a little bit with being the main man in the ruck.
Yep.
There's been 2 or 3 games that I've seen him have sub 5 disposals. So that's a concern from a development point of view, and hopefully he can sort of get into the game a bit more, and maybe with a few injuries coming back, that VFL side being a little bit stronger, maybe that helps his game out a little bit. But yeah, they're
sure.
2 interesting
No,
ones.
I was being hyperbolic, Deebs.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Google
He's-
define hyperbolic. Yep, got that one here.
beautiful.
Yep,
Got it.
beautiful.
No, so I just to Katz's point, we're playing the kids.
We're playing the kids.
We're playing the kids.
And also Ben Patton, he's 26, so not a kid.
Yeah, not a kid. Did get a lot of feedback about that.
We are well and
But I
truly
mean,
aware of
as
that
far
now.
as I'm concerned, he's a kid. He's a child. He's almost a decade younger than I am. So that's a kid for mine, Deebs.
For yours.
What are we going to do? Sure, it's just Jordan to Merritt.
Is it as simple
I think it is,
as tagging Merritt, stop
mate.
the Dons?
I would be. Here's my strategy.
You're a
This
big,
isn't
you're a
the
big
preview.
strategy
Big
guy.
strategy guy. I would have anyone, whether you're a forward, midfielder, defender. If you see Zach Merritt, you put body on him.
Yeah.
You put contact on him, guys. This is
Juzzy?
Juzzy, and Zach Merritt is for mine in the top 5 players in the comp.
Yeah, mate.
He is an unbelievable player, and you need to treat him with the respect he deserves and lay an elbow into him every chance you get, because without him, they're screwed.
Yeah, they're so heavily reliant on Merritt, and he single-handedly got them over the line against North on the weekend.
Correct.
So JJ's got a huge role. He got the chocolates on the weekend, but when he's had that midfield tag role the previous 2 weeks, probably got his colours lowered slightly. And it's game 100 for JJ this week as well.
Massive.
So that's a huge achievement for him.
Yes.
70-odd more than that. It's probably 70, 80 games with Melbourne, and then made his way to the Bloods, and he's definitely a Blood. So it's
he's a Blood.
certainly something to celebrate this week.
Oh,
Huge
100%.
effort,
I'm glad we're there.
for sure.
That's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, we'll clap him off the ground.
Oh,
won't
we'll
we?
get around JJ. Don't you worry about that. Hey, who do you reckon comes in?
I'm not too sure.
What's us the faithful?
I'll go with Harry Badbidge over on your X's.
Is that Babbage, did you say?
Babbage.
Wow.
Exactly right. Yeah, whenever you question me, I just got to read things twice to make sure I've said it right. He's gone, McCartan gets 2 metre Peter. Hamling will go back and take Caddy. Rampy will sit on Langford. Melican out for Laddams. He will rest forward with Grundy to stretch Essendon defenders with Ridley out. Would like to see Sheldrick get a full game as well. Unsure who he comes in for.
Yeah. Like it.
Well, Gus came on and impacted, didn't he?
Well, he hit the scoreboard.
He's
There's
done
not
that-
much more you can
He's
ask
done that a
for.
few times. What did he have? 4 touches and a goal.
Any tackles?
Oh, there's probably a few in there. I was going off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
good.
But yeah, that's an interesting one.
Miggs Martin, if Mills is good to go, he comes in and plays in the back line. I reckon Miggs.
Migs. Yeah, Migs. You are a really well Swannies educated man.
Yeah, astute Swannies
Astute
man.
Swannies supporter. I know, Mads knows, and you know too, Migs, that Mills is at least a month away, brother. He will not play AFL for at least a month. It's a week-by-week proposition. They're even saying that in the injury report now. So I think you can put the idea of Millsy coming into that bag. Just put him back in the cupboard
Put
over
that
there,
back in
mate.
the old kit bag there, Miggsy.
Yeah.
A mate of mine keeps asking me, he does Supercoach, keeps asking me about Taylor Adams.
Sure.
And I said, I would be surprised. So he's listed as a test.
He will play VFL this week.
I reckon he is a chance at playing VFL. What is it, a calf?
Hammy.
Hammy. Similar.
Yeah.
You just want to be careful with these sort of things.
You got to test it out eventually.
You have to test it out
Oh,
eventually.
I think he'll be in the VFL side this
I
week.
reckon he's got probably 2 or 3 weeks in the VFL.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. There's he's got some work to do, and I think you'll see Millsy play VFL. If Millsy doesn't play VFL,
That's insane.
you got to question, what's going on down there.
Yeah.
Don't you?
You do. You do. The Wolf of Watsonia, Weary Connell.
Weary Connell.
He's brought the heat again. The Bombers line up dangers and structured solutions. Don't quite know where he's going there. Merritt, a combo of row bottom in the guts and JJ around the ground. Don't hate that. Martin versus Wixie. Yeah, it's not bad as well because they get a lot of run out of Nick Martin.
Yeah.
But
I
don't know if Wixie's the guy there.
Yeah, not on a wing for mine. I think we've got enough guys getting up on that wing. It's probably not the play in my opinion.
Durham versus Haynes, who can drag him forward where he's not comfortable and score on him. Redmond versus Lizard, head to head.
Yeah, Redmond.
Redmond's down back.
That's right, up back. Down back.
Yeah,
Just joking, faithful. Don't tear me down. That was a joke.
You're on fire tonight.
Thank you, buddy. You're always trying to do my best.
I'm enjoying your work.
Very good.
I don't know if you're thinking Lizard forward. I don't know if that works. Langford versus Rams lockdown. Wright versus T-Mac. Caddy versus Hamling. Get all of that. Andy McGrath. I reckon you can let Andy McGrath run around by himself because Andy McGrath can't do anything.
Yeah,
I don't know how he's vice captain. It is insane to me.
Not a threat.
Not a threat
right.
in any way, shape, or form.
For sure. And Naomi Peach over in South Australia, big fan of the pod. She goes with Hamling and Francis together, Jordan to Merritt, T-Mac to hold the defence together. If we play like we did last week, we prevail. Essendon lucky to have beaten a side that could have been thrashed by a waffle side. There's a whack for you, Essendon. I love that from Naomi Peach. Fantastic. We love wax here.
We love wax. Big whack pod.
Exactly right. But that might lead us nicely into
the preview. Let's go. Do you know what I miss, Deebs?
What's that, Mads?
I miss those authentic American-style pickles from my times in the States.
Well, Mads, don't get yourself in a pickle. Delicious are sponsoring the pod this month. They are a proudly family-owned and run business committed to bringing you the best-tasting pickles for your picnic, platters and pantries. The owner, Jimmy, is a huge Bloods guy.
Yeah, but are they Australian-made ingredients, Deebs?
Yes, Mads.
Are they seriously crunchy?
Absolutely, Mads.
Are they sneakily healthy and simply delicious?
Yes, they are.
Well, Deebs, that sounds bloody sensational. Head on over to delicious.com.au and get yourself some pickles.
Welcome back to True Bloods. Mads, the Bloods are back in Melbourne.
Yes.
Saturday afternoon.
Yes.
Afternoon.
4:30?
4:35?
4:15, I reckon.
4:15?
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
I'm looking forward to it. Deebs, I love a Twilight game with you.
Yeah.
And do you know what? There's potential. Now, I'm doing my Mother's Day on the Saturday. But I reckon there's potential that I really twist your arm on Saturday night and we can sort of have a bit of fun, I reckon.
Yeah.
Post a dub, of course.
Oh, of course.
Post a dub.
Well, results-based piss regardless.
That's right.
That's a given, especially down in Melbourne. I think the vibes will be there early afternoon, sun rising over the docklands there, wherever there is a beverage for us.
That's right.
I'm sure there'll be one or two getting put away.
The sun will generally be setting, but we'll leave that alone.
What did I say? Rising.
The sun will be rising on Sunday.
So I guess that's just rising sun.
The sun will be rising on Sunday for us.
That's
Stable.
right.
That's what will be happening. But I am looking very much forward to it. We have a history of really good encounters with this side. They hate it. But I'm confident that if we take that football that we were playing in the first quarter and the final quarter into this game, they're going to have no chance to beat us.
Yeah.
Because we are a better football side for them, even with these injuries that we've got.
That's right. And I think I take a lot of confidence in the form of the Chad coming off a best on ground performance, dominating, just one of the most damaging players in this competition. Haynes is up and going.
And who loves playing against the Bombers? Isaac Heaney.
Yeah, it's just those two guys. You're always half a chance with those two guys in your side, right? And I just think it's starting to flow. Not ideal with Mally out. It will be interesting to see how selection plays out. We've sort of done that discussion already, but it's really important just to bring that endeavour, that Bloods footy, that discipline, and that mongrel edge that we sort of found last week to say, even though we do have an injury or two, we are a side that he's not going to roll over, and we're going to show grit until the end. That's sort of what we need to bring to be able to start evening up this ledger.
And it's so important, this game, for us. This is arguably, now that we got the win over GWS, to see how we can, with this group of players, to carry it into the week after against inferior opposition to GWS. This is where you want to see a bit of consistency start.
Yeah.
As you rightly put. I think it is a good opportunity to give Sheldrick a full game.
Yeah.
I honestly do. It's indoor footy. There's a lid on the football ground. There's no wind. There's no weather.
It is.
It's going to be the ball that Essendon move the ball with pace. We like to move the ball with pace historically. There's no wind. I want to make it clear there's a lid. There's a roof over the ground, Deebs. It's indoor footy.
Well,
this is Sheldrick.
Are we playing at the Don Dome?
We are at Don Dome. 4:15, Don Dome, the traditional time slot. This is Angus Sheldrick's time to have a four quarters in the Don Dome.
Is it as basic as Melican out, Sheldrick in for
Could
yours?
be. For mine, who's the sub then?
Corey Warner got subbed out. Who could you play? Cleary's an option. Campbell's an option. Florence an option with I don't know.
Could he be a good sub? I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's selection's always interesting with us. Do you see sort of the likes of Caleb Mitchell best on in the twos, although that they got done by, the best
26
part
points.
of 5 goals. He's probably the only one with Laddams. Sort of seems like Laddams really caught in this spot, playing well in the twos, but not performing when he comes into the ones.
I was going to say I think you're a bit harsh on Peter, on Pistol Pete. I think he's performed to an extent, but not enough to keep his spot.
I'm not harsh on Peter.
You're very harsh on Peter Laddams. I don't think he's done enough to keep his spot, and he's been dropped rightfully for it. But I don't think this is the game where you need another tool.
I don't think so either.
I just don't. I think you'd rather speed on a bit of speed on the ball. Now, is Angus Sheldrick fast? No, but he can release guys like McInerney.
Yeah. I'm more than comfortable with Pope Aaron Francis.
Yes.
Right. He just makes me full of confidence these days.
Big Aaron Francis pod.
Right. And the DOS just leading up at the pill and chopping out.
Hey, is this an Aaron Francis legacy game against his old side that threw him on the scrap heap? Is there a swingman role and 3 or 4 goals from the big fella?
Now, we're not a big betting pod, Mads, but should we, as a podcast, take Aaron Francis 4 goals plus? Just for something for everyone to ride.
I think it'd be great.
And just imagine riding that at Don Dome. Can you imagine? We might have to get in touch with the 100K boys. They might be our contact
there
here.
There might be a collaboration of some sort.
That's right.
Out there for us. Out there for all of us.
All of us. And little ones off. I'm just saying, this has Aaron Francis legacy game written all over it.
I like
4 plus. Let's go.
4 plus.
Liking that. And I think just the one main matchup, Jordan to Merritt.
It's the only one that you can hand on your heart say this
has to happen.
Well, this is the move that wins you the game. It's very clear that if that is executed correctly, we win.
Yeah.
They can't do it. They can't do anything.
For sure. Mate, I'm with you. Mate, that's the play. Zach Merritt, get ready, son. Going to be a tough day out there for you, buddy.
But we have to make it tough for him.
We do. Have to.
I'm speaking hyperbole. They've got, Hobbs is decent. Durham, I really like. Their forward line, Langford, Peter Wright, Caddy's great. Kako's still learning. He's still finding it hard to impact games on a consistent basis. But, Redmond, they get a lot of run out of. But even he's a shell of his former self for mine, Deebs.
Yeah, for yours. He's definitely not impacting like he was.
Nick Martin's a good distributor as well, and he's very quick. You know, they've got some players there. And Langford does tend to towel us up.
Has done it before.
Yep.
He kicked for one game against us there when they started rattled back into that game when we were like 5 or 6 goals up and just managed to hold on. Now, Swannies by how far, Big Mads?
I reckon we win by Aaron Francis's 4 goals.
4 goals.
That's the difference.
Jeez,
Yourself?
I'm keen. Swannies. I reckon it's going to be a really nice afternoon out there for us.
Oh, that'd be beautiful, wouldn't it?
There is going to be winning beverages somewhere out there for us, and we're going to do it by 5 goals.
By 5 goals.
5 goals. Now, let's talk
Tipping.
Swannies. Tipping.
Yeah, that's right.
True Bloods tipping.
True Bloods tipping.
Now, I took a few risks last week, and I've come back to the pack. And where are we sitting? We're on the same amount of tips.
I am 66th.
Yeah, and I reckon I'm like 64th or something like that. But it all starts on Thursday night, Mads. Freo v Collingwood, Optus Stadium.
Collingwood, except they're resting a lot. Very arrogant.
Very, very arrogant. It's not as if they're sitting.
How's Craig McRae? Oh, we were playing this a long time ago. You wussy boys.
Yeah.
You saw what St Kilda did to Freo and you said, here's an opportunity. We're going to take the foot off the pedal. So I hope Freo, but it'll be Collingwood.
Freo were bad last week, weren't
Terrible.
they? I'm going to have to tip Collingwood.
Have to.
Friday night, St Kilda, Carlton.
Oh.
St Kilda got going against Freo.
At the G, though. It's not at St Dome.
St Dome, right.
Carlton, because it's at the G. That's the only reason I'd do it. With no confidence.
With the Saints. Saturday, Melbourne and Hawthorn.
Elisa, you getting to this one? You betcha.
Big Hawks girl.
Big Hawks girl. Hawthorn will pants them.
Do
you know their CEO apparently didn't tell the Chamber of Commerce that he was leaving?
Sure.
And so I think the Chamber of Commerce are holding him to his current role. So he may not be able to start till September.
This is Melbourne's guy.
Yeah. What a genuine shit fight.
That's very Melbourne. What can I say?
It's not good.
Gold Coast v Western Bulldogs up there. What did you take out of the prime time Gold Coast Brisbane game?
The
fell a
Q
little bit
clash.
flat, didn't it?
It did fall a bit flat. They just didn't get to the level. The pineapple grapple, as they call it.
Yes.
But I think Western Bulldogs, I hate them, but I can't help but damn respect them at the moment.
Yes. Couldn't have better myself.
Yeah, I think it's Western
Very
Bulldogs.
good. Yeah, doggies for mine too. We've got the
showdown.
The showdown, that's right. Port Adelaide and Adelaide, Saturday night.
Oh, we might just roll into watching the second half of this one, Deebs.
There's every chance that could be happening.
Yeah, nice. Adelaide.
Exactly right. Sunday, Richmond and West Coast.
Richmond,
followed by Geelong and GWS down at GMHBA.
Geelong.
That's
and
right.
Brisbane beat North.
Thank
you very much for listening. This has been fun, Deebs.
It has, mate. We look forward to seeing everyone down at Etihad.
And thank you to Delicious jumping on board.
That's it. Big Jimmy Pickles, shout out to you, brother. Hope you're going well. Look forward to your call back. We love working with you. There's a oh, gee whiz, that's a nice way to finish it. Good on you, Jimmy.
Good on you, Jimmy.
But this has been True Bloods. We are the number one independent Sydney Swans fan podcast. We are number one in your hearts and number one on the charts. We're speaking words of wisdom up the potty.